00695. My name is Matt Taylor. To my right, of course, she's going to be reporting matters. I'm on the table. Become your name.
Cherane Pefley.
And you are the petitioner?
Yes.
Yes, great. And ma'am?
Connie Gray.
Ma'am?
Diane Pendleton.
Jack Carmen.
Neil Jacqueline.
Mike Whelan. Okay, and the last four are with property appraisal. Correct? Okay, anybody who's going to testify, please raise your right hand. Are you going to testify?
Am I?
Are you going to talk about the property? Do you swear affirm to tell the truth and matters up to your knowledge, please?
Yes.
Okay, I'm an independent attorney. I was hired not by the taxpayer or tax collector, but I was hired to give an opinion to the Value Adjustment Board and render a recommendation. The Value Adjustment Board makes the final decision. My job is to give a fair, unbiased, orderly hearing and evaluate the relevance and credibility of the evidence. I have not looked at the evidence on the computer or in the file. The idea is I would give a fair shake. First time looking at it and give you a fair shake on it. Property appraiser will start the hearing by telling us what's going on in the file. Don't worry, I don't make up my mind until I read your side of it. And do you have any questions about these procedures?
Gary. Studied most hair, and I took this.
Okay, now she's here to help you read
Yes.
things.
Yes.
All right. And this is track the case of ag. I'm assuming here. Okay. So, what's the acreage on the two? All right. Any changes in the position of the property appraiser?
No.
Tell me what's going on.
So 2-acre parcel and lots of hatching. And again, just like the case we just heard, the agricultural classification was denied based on the fact that aviculture is not mentioned in 193.461, number 5. But poultry is. What's happening on this property is the previous classification was for 1 acre for the exotic birds, so we moved 1 acre.
Okay, so out of 2 acres, the other acre was unclassified.
That's correct.
Before there was 1 acre unclassified.
Yeah, 1 acre
And 1 acre agriculture.
That's correct.
And now it's 2 unclassified. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. How long has it had this classification? Talking years?
A few years, yeah, just had it. So this is not a new application, it was a review denial of a property that was had the ag classification for years.
Okay.
Here's the neighbor.
Okay.
Can I see one? Oh, wow. You're not going to see it. No, you're not. So I don't get pictures on it, it's DJ.
All right, so is there a factual issue? I'm going to go over this. We just had recently a case on this, and there was some issues that were really not contested. Is there an issue that there is a commercial business here?
No, there's commercial business.
Okay. Stipulation that it's commercial.
Yeah.
The operation is commercial.
Yeah.
Is there a stipulation that there is a business there of breeding birds and then those birds are sold? These are exotic birds, I'm assuming. Okay. Is assuming we're talking about the 1 acre,
Yes,
okay? Is there a stipulation or is that under factual contest that there is 1 acre being used to raise birds and sell their off, these exotic birds and sell them?
right, I agree with that.
So the stipulation is that, you know, we're raising birds and selling.
We visited the property on August 22nd, saw the operation.
And that's what you saw.
Yeah,
The only issue we have is the issue of whether or not this commercial activity of raising exotic birds and selling their offspring is an agricultural activity that fits into the definition of agriculture as defined for classification, a tax exemption classification. Is that correct?
that's,
All right. Anything else you need to add?
I guess for the record purposes, you handed in all your evidence, Mr. Wheeler? Do you have any other pieces of evidence to hand in?
I don't have any more.
I'll give the magistrate again this similar thing to this paper I gave before, just for the purpose of the record. It is the same, so it'd be redundant to what you had before. And the position of the property appraiser, as you heard in the earlier hearing, remains the same in terms of the construction of the applicable statutes, the legislative intent, the specificity of not placing aviculture in any of the statutory sections, as well as the fact there is no case law that has granted aviculture an agricultural classification for exemption purposes. And that is our position, is the same as the last hearing. I don't think there's anything new, different to add to this taxpayer's petition. Mr. Klein, have anything they want to add?
I just want to state for the record, specific to this hearing, that it's solely Mr. Nicholas's determination to interpret statute, determine whether agricultural classification is appropriately granted for a particular activity. Only Mr. Nicholas. It's Palm Beach County, that's Mr. Nicholas. He has made the decision to strictly interpret the statute, as well as the word poultry, to include birds that are consumption birds for eggs or meat, to the exclusion of all other forms of agriculture, including exotic birds for the pet trade.
And I just want to put on the record, Mr. Nicholas is an experienced appraiser. He's a certified financial analyst, recognized in the state of Florida. He was at one point in his career the manager of real estate department at Rock Appraiser's office. He ends up business as an appraiser. He is an experienced appraiser, and he is a hands-on administrator and not necessarily a firm.
I think, you know, sort of like the elephant that we're not all talking about, that everyone in this room, including petitioners who were observed just in a 2-hour hearing on exactly these same issues, which were argued ably by both sides. And I have not made a decision on that yet. So I think anyone, you know, who listens to this record later might be like, what are we talking about? Why are they not addressing the issue? The fact of the matter is that everyone in this room, including the petitioners, just had a hearing addressing all these issues, you know, a great deal. Now we have, okay, well, before I go forward, is there anything else from the side of the property? All right, now, as to the petitioners, we have a stipulation from the property appraiser, which I knew to get, because we just had this hearing previously, which was, I knew, number four, I suspect it's wrong, number one, that there's not an issue that you're running a commercial, how you want to construe it is the issue. Is it agriculture, or is it manufacturing, or is it retail, or what? The other issue, the other thing that was stipulated was that, yes, you're raising the birds and selling the offspring. Okay, and that's your business. Your business is commercial, you're making money at it, it's intended for profit, and physically you're doing the process of maintaining and raising birds and selling their offspring. Okay? And further, I think they have stipulated that this is occurring on 1 acre, okay, out of the 2. Okay? So we're not talking about whatever happens in this hearing based on the stipulation. It's not going to get you 2 acres of classification based on these stipulations. It's going to give 1, maybe. The other one based on the stipulations is still always going to be unclassified, I guess, unless you have.
I have addressed that as well.
Now,
Is that possible?
I'm laying out the groundwork for you. Now you tell me, why you feel you should get the relief contained in your petition.
I have been in this business almost 25 years. In 1995, when the original opinion came from the Department of Agriculture regarding to what an exotic bird, what is that? And it was written back that was livestock.
And when was this?
1995. I do not have that. That is the other part that they presented with Don Paz. And this was asked by the city of Vero Beach, Florida. And it was used against me as a resident with exotic birds.
Because you were not in agriculture.
I was not, they said it was livestock.
Oh.
And I'm smiling here because now, 42 years in my hometown, at age 68, I moved to Loxahatchee Groves because of the zoning, which I had to have agriculture in order to even apply for the farm classification. And now I'm smiling because now I'm told, well, I'm a commercial business. When I sold a commercial building to move here to have a bird farm, when will I be sitting here saying, well, now I can't have a commercial business on agricultural land? Now that's just my thoughts that I've gotten from sitting and listening to all this. Now, here's a book I've had since I was 9 years old. It's 100 years old. It's called Our Domestic Birds, The Elementary Lessons in Aviculture, and it was taught at the Agriculture University. I made copies for all of you. No, 2 copies, 2 sets. That they're cats, chickens, poultry, hawks, you name it, it's in there. Exotic birds as well. Anyone of you would like to see this? I've had it since I was 9 years old. My accountant, who has done my, this is my, the introduction.
From the accountant?
No, just this.
Okay.
So they call it exhibit. Who do I give this to? I have the exhibit. My accountant for the last, this is her affidavit. She's done my book work as a bird farm in Vero Beach, Florida, which I was told I had moved to a bird farm since 1991. I lived on the beach. Matter of fact, still in the house there. Guys gonna move me out back there. What is this?
This is your exhibit A.
Okay, my permit. Here is, I'm captive. I have a captive breeding facility. No, is this it? This is exhibit A. This is a letter from John
The
Connor.
Department of Ag.
Oh, here's the letter, and
Yes.
also, this is from, Department of Agriculture, plus a follow-up where I wrote and asked if there had been any change in the law last year. I need one for, okay, thank you. Here's all my licenses. Isn't that interesting? 100 years old.
Yeah.
Taught at the University of Agriculture. Here is
I
my,
would like to know the name of that book. I'm not gonna enter into.
I gave you a copy right
You
here.
know, I don't wanna enter a book into evidence. I'm not gonna type,
All domestic,
pardon me?
domestic birds. Yeah, but you gotta put the subtitle in it, cause it's agriculture.
Elementary lessons in aviculture.
Okay.
And you see all the
Our
poultry
domestic birds.
and chickens?
Yes, I see.
I can give you a page if you like.
I don't wanna enter that in evidence, because frankly, I don't think it's that relevant. But I would like to know the name of the book.
Okay. Even though it was taught at the Agriculture State, University?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's my licenses, captive breeding, federal, federal, state, local. And my CBW permit is for endangered species, which just this summer, they have allowed us to sell to the pet trade. And in order for us to sell to the pet trade, they have to apply, the buyer has to apply for with $100 application fee, and they have to contribute to the endangered species of their origin.
You made a reference to a license or a permit. I didn't see a copy of that.
Right here. I got all of them right here. All of them. My tax certificate, everything for this year.
I gave them.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Here is the Department of Labor, OSHA. And by the way, they do mention, I think, did they mention,
Avery's and
Avery's,
yes, yeah.
here you go. Department of Labor. Yeah, I have to say on record, this is my livelihood and has been. And I moved here and I bought a piece of sterile land, and I certainly did. I mean, I have tropical trees. I have 20 macadamia trees, and I certainly wasn't given any kind of classification for those trees. I mean, I planted 52 guava trees. I planted 200 seed grade trees. And you walked around my property, and I wasn't given any consideration for tropical trees.
You've never applied for it.
I didn't know I had to when I was applied for agriculture.
Well, that's,
Oh, I hear what you're saying. They
You
all
can't
have
rent something that's
okay.
not, that you don't.
So this is 100% of my livelihood.
what is this document, you know? You all have these.
Yes, sir, we do.
Here is where each year I received, and you have this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I do want you to have this. This is where I renewed. Oh, I didn't renew, automatically renewed. The other thing is that I do have, so you don't think it's relevant of the invention of the terminology, agriculture?
I don't know what you're talking about. You're telling me I don't think it's relevant, but.
No, I'm asking you the question.
What's the?
Oh, she's speaking of the book.
No,
No?
speaking of that. It's from Smithsonian University, the invention of the word agriculture. It means live birds versus dead birds for ornithology, and it also states that it's next to horticulture. The invention of the word terminology, agriculture. At Harvard Law and Smithsonian. The definition is live birds.
Okay.
Do you know that?
Yeah, you gave us the full
Yeah.
package.
You have they have your whole package.
Okay. I didn't know if I had that in or not.
Okay, is there anything else you wanted to tell me?
No, that's it.
Okay. Again, barring any, comments from property appraiser, I'm assuming there's nothing new that's going to be addressed here. Probably, well, in that case, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna review all the materials I have on the subject.
So, can I ask you a question? The fact that Internal Revenue has accepted, me as a farmer for birds, exotic birds since 1991, does that have any influence?
Well, I mean, it's something you'd wanna mention and say, look, I have this, but it's not entirely relevant to the legal issue of whether or not the Florida statute allows this activity to be classification of agriculture for a tax relief purpose.
Okay.
Really specifically what we're doing.
I also
It
addressed,
doesn't hurt, I mean, it says what other people are doing, but it doesn't directly address this issue. And it's a very specific issue of law.
do I need Connie to read my, letter where I also addressed but limited to, and, I'm requesting an acre and a half that the Constitution or state, statute I quoted in there that I'm not to be limited.
Well, that's a different issue. When I was talking about these stipulations, I was trying to, lay this out for you. Say that we had 1 acre that was, previously, that was unclassified, and 1 that was classified as agriculture. Now, the property appraiser has removed agriculture as part of their agricultural classification. So now it's 2 unclassified. And the stipulation, the property appraiser's office was, number 1, this is commercial. Number 2, you're raising birds and selling the offspring. And number 3, an acre is being used for this. So if you're asking for another half an acre to be included in this consideration of whether it should receive an agricultural benefit, then you need to present evidence that this other half acre is involved in this activity as well.
And that would require an application in 2014
Okay.
requesting an additional acre and requesting your tropical fruit.
There was no
I don't want chocolate. I
for
just,
this
For the
year,
extra acre.
for the extra half
Okay,
acre.
so then
No
that's not really on the table.
okay.
Limitation, Florida statute,
Yes.
they can't limit the
Yes.
size.
Yeah.
That's what she meant.
I have that written in there. It states that
In the Florida
size cannot
statute,
be
it
limited.
states that the size of the use cannot be limited. That's purpose.
Right.
In other words, you can't deny cattle, which typically would be on 100 acres, 50 acres, 30, the statute, that you can't limit it. If someone
But that's not what it says.
for
That is not
cattle
what it says.
with 3 acres, you
Doesn't
can't
say
say,
that.
because I'm just explaining the pertinence.
Well, I mean, it does make a difference as far as the commercial use. I mean, you can say you can't limit, cattle to a half
This is
acre,
the
but
statute.
We would never, what we're saying is we would never deny your birds based on the size of your parcel.
it could be denied based on the fact
But
that
you
it
did,
wasn't.
I was told you told me I could only have an acre, and I use my whole house, I live alone, I mean, it's all birds.
That's a curtilage issue.
Yeah, this is.
Okay.
She got homestead on the other acre?
Yeah, it has homes,
Okay.
but the extra half acre was never applied for this year. So 1 acre is the issue.
I was unaware that I had to do
If
that.
you have homestead on 1 acre, and if you had homestead on 1 acre and 1 acre on agriculture, now you have 1 acre homestead? Is that what's going on? And 1 acre unclassified? How is it set up now?
It has, nothing is classified now,
Okay.
but it had 1 acre before,
1 acre wood,
for exotic birds.
but no homestead.
Yeah, it has homestead on the other 1 acre.
Okay.
There's a house.
So right now we're talking about 2 acres, is that correct?
2 acre
So
parcel.
do we still have homestead on 1 acre?
Yeah.
Like we did before?
Right,
So we really only have 1 acre up for grabs.
Yes.
right, the extra half acre was never applied.
You'd have to give
Yeah, I
up
never knew I had to do that, I applied
You would
for,
have to give up your homestead on that
I
half
understand.
acre and then apply for the other half acre towards your agriculture.
I
That's what you would
understand.
have, from a procedural standpoint, that's what you'd have to do. I mean, what I'm saying is you're getting some benefit on the acre that you're wanting to change from homestead to agriculture.
Oh, I understand that. I'm not, that isn't the issue. The issue was that it's the statute. I mean, if we're going to go by statute, I think we should go all the way, don't you?
Well, we have no evidence to indicate that more than an acre is being used.
They both visited my place.
And they had stipulated to an acre, not an acre.
I see.
And if you want that, you'll need to apply.
I will. I have to do this again next year then.
Well, I don't know. Well,
Gee.
I got to read through.
I'm gonna quit. You guys don't lose a citizen here, I tell you. I mean, you know, I moved from my hometown because I have livestock, and now I'm fighting because, oh, it's commercial, and I sold a commercial building. I didn't lift a finger, $1,500 a month to come here for this.
Well, you're saying it's commercial, but what we're here for is agricultural exemption. Okay, so what we're saying is that I don't know exactly. You keep saying commercial, but we're all.
I say that because that's what I've heard as an observer, and I hear now that the next thing I'll be fighting because I have a commercial place on agricultural land.
Oh.
Are you following where I'm coming from? Like I had livestock in my residential house.
Right.
It doesn't make sense, does it?
Okay. Well, I am simply going to make a decision based on what is appropriate for the taxing. As far as zoning or other things, I don't really have much control. What I have control over, what I'm obligated to decide is on law and facts relating to whether this property should get taxing. That's what I'm. All right. Anything else from the parties on this? I am going to have to review these materials. I'll do a restricted consent. Thank you.
Do you know how long it will be?
Not that.
Okay.